This might sound a little bit harsh, but at the end of the day, it's your life and no one actually cares. If you've been wondering, what will people think of me? I'm talking to you. I know that the title can come off as kind of harsh, right? Just saying that nobody cares. Because we should obviously care about the choices that we're making, right? But this is not about anything negative. This is about the freedom to exist, to breathe on your own, and to create exactly what it is that you want in your own life. Society and people around us train us to be more concerned about perception than we are about where we're actually going. The reality is perceptions are temporary, but our decisions are forever. And we can't let something temporary overrule something that is going to control the rest of our destiny, essentially. It can be like really intimidating, obviously, to just like, I don't know, for lack of better words, go off script and just make a decision that's going to potentially offend people around you, no matter what that looks like. Obviously, we want the people around us in our lives to be happy, and obviously we're not trying to make decisions actively that are going to put other people in harm's way, right? And we're not trying to like purposefully blow up relationships that we've intentionally built. But at the end of the day, there are some decisions that have to just be made despite what other people think. You know, sometimes I think about like when I was homeschooled and I was like 17, 18 years old, didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, but I knew I wanted to go to college. And at that time, because of the community my family had invested ourselves into, we really were not big on the college conversation. We didn't really have any intentional conversations around me going to college or what I was going to do after I graduated high school. And I ended up having to make this really hard decision of like, I'm just going to go to college, even if that's not what my community wanted for me, even if that was not what my parents initially wanted for me either. And I can say and sit here in front of you today and tell you that was the best decision I made for myself at that time as an 18-year-old who was not even sure that it was the right decision. Obviously, it ended up being something that built into my future to where I am now. Like, I'm sitting in a home that is funded by a job that I was able to get because of the degree that I was able to pursue through choosing to go to college. You have to start thinking future minded. It isn't just about what's happening right now, right here in this moment. It's about what happens down the road. Every decision that we make has a domino effect, good or bad. And you have to be willing to take that risk of finding out which one it's going to be. Because of social media and just all these stigmas that we've built around things, I think we get so caught up in just, what are they going to think? And the reality of the matter is, they're probably not all going to be going with you on this journey. That I know that's a lot to take in, but not everybody that's in your life is going to follow you on the path that you're going. They're not all going to be there when you arrive at your end goal 5, 10, 20 years down the road. They're not all going to be there, whether if that's because of death, because of just life pulling you guys apart, whatever it is. Not everyone is going to be there with you when you get to where you're trying to go, because they have their journeys to take too. And that's actually such a liberating thought, If you really step back and think about like how we all collectively as the human race have choices to make and places to go and journeys to go on, it doesn't seem so bad after all that we are all making different choices that seem opposing to each other. Perhaps like, a friend group might get broken up because everyone goes to a different college. But at the end of the day, you might be all coming back together with really cool stories about where you actually got to end up, where your dreams took you. And the same thing goes for family. I know that this is a really hard one because family is different. Family implications with choices being made can be really, really devastating at times. When it comes to this, it is a delicate matter, right? But at the end of the day, you are still your own person. And while I would never encourage anybody to purposefully go against their family, their beliefs, whatever it is, like on purpose to just be difficult, you know what you're called to at the end of the day. Whether if you believe in a higher spiritual being or not, you know what you're called to in this life. You know where you're supposed to go in this life. And really, Nothing can stop you from that but you. Because not everyone's going to go on that journey with you, chances are, even if they stay around, based off of their proximity to you, some of them will not even remember being mad at you for whatever decision it is that you made in that moment that turned them against you or offended them or whatever it is. Okay, well, they're offended right now. They're probably going to cut me off. And, there are people who will do that. But there's also people who are going to stick around despite you making a decision that they didn't really agree with. And they might even get on board with it later down the road. For example, going back to the whole college thing, my parents were very on board once they realized I was excelling where I was at. And the same thing happens once I moved out, once I got my own place, once I had established myself, for example, with the social media thing. That was something they were super against. And now we're here today sitting in front of a camera talking still 7 years after a very painful conversation that involves them telling me to delete my YouTube channel. Some things still pan out okay later. And the thing is, because we're all caught up in our own things with our own journeys, here's a really crazy thought. Everyone else is having the same questions in their heads too, about what will they think of me? Are they going to be mad at me? Is this the good or bad decision to make? Is this going to have good or bad implications in the future? And the thing is, if you can pull yourself out of where you're at and realize we are all experiencing this too, every single one of us, every single day, I think you can get yourself freed from a lot of fear. Because the reality is we're all asking a lot of the same questions all the time. None of us actually know what we're doing, which is crazy to admit, right? None of us want to admit that we don't know what we're doing on this journey called life. But the reality is we are all living for the very first time, and we don't know a single thing that we're doing. And that's a really beautiful thing. You don't have to have it all figured out. A lot of us are making it up as we go, and that's okay. Make good decisions where you can. Try to use wisdom with what you can. But the rest of it, there's only so much we can control in this life. So I challenge you to ask yourself this. How would I live if no one was watching? If social perception did not matter, if it had no place in my life? I guarantee you will find yourself in a completely different headspace just from that question alone. For me, a lot of how I got to where I am now really had to start with me removing stigmas from society off of myself that I was also pushing myself to view myself through. I had to stop being worried about really what anyone thought, what my past relationship partners thought of me, what my family thought about me, what my faith community thought of me. And these didn't have to be negative things. It wasn't a thing where I became indifferent to people or cut off people. It had to become a thing of, well, I have to keep living regardless of what they think. And you also have to give yourself some credit. I guarantee you a lot of the decisions that you're making right now or having to make, they're not bad decisions. They just look different from what other people want for you. I'm going to say that again. A lot of the decisions you're making are not bad choices. They just look different from what other people want for you. And we all have control issues, okay? I get it. We're all human. I have control issues sometimes. But the thing is, the sooner we get a hold of the idea that we can't decide for each other, that one frees us from trying to control others, and also two, frees us from the idea that others get to control what we do as well. And I'm not talking about just extreme stuff. I'm talking about small things too, because sometimes we let it be things that don't matter because we feel like we're under a microscope because of social media, because of how we're socialized, and it's okay. You can breathe now. You can go live your life however it is that you know you're supposed to. And it does not have to be a negative thing by any means. Let that free you a bit more today on your journey to go be your authentic self, be who you are, as cliche as that sounds. No one cares And that's your permission to go exist in peace. You don't have to explain yourself to anybody. They'll catch up or they won't. And you're going to be great wherever it is that you're going. I'm cheering for you. I'm proud of you. Go have the best day.